third method is reduction of amide. Okay, so why we are taking a substrate such as nitrile amide is because the substrate should have a nitrogen atom, so that if we do a reduction or if we modify something, we should end up with the amines, because amines will have a nitrogen as a functional group. So therefore here we have taken amide. So what do you mean by amide? Amide is nothing but RCONH2. So this is called as amide functional group. So here what I have to do is I have to do a reduction. So here the definition of reduction is different. What do you mean by that is, as I have said you, I can add a hydrogen or I can remove a oxygen. So here you can see that amide is a derivative of carboxylic acid. How do we get amide? From carboxylic acid. So therefore, how do we do a reduction for carboxylic acid? By using a strongest reducing agent by name lithium aluminium hydride. It is a well-known, very good example for reducing agent. But let me tell you, they are highly specific in nature. So this reducing agent is used for reduction of carboxylic acids. Since amide is a derivative of carboxylic acid, so therefore I can use lithium aluminium hydride even for amide functional group. So here what we are doing, you can see here that already I have a NH2 group as a readily available. Something what I have to do is I have to remove this oxygen, and I hope you know that removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen both are called as reduction. Since it is a reducing agent, what it does is it will add 2 hydrogen for carbon atom, then followed by NH2. The removed oxygen will also be added up with a 2 hydrogen, so that the byproduct will be a water here. So again we are ending up with an primary amine. So this is one of the simplest reaction where we are reducing the amide with a lithium aluminium hydride, so that I'll end up with a primary amine. Okay, so next one is reduction of nitro compound. So again we are taking nitro because it has a nitrogen here. So here we have taken an aromatic nitro compound, that is nitrobenzene. So again what we are doing? We are doing a catalytic hydrogenation in presence of ethyl alcohol as a solvent. We are not taking water as a solvent here, we are taking ethanol as a solvent. So again what we are doing here, we are adding 2 hydrogen and we are removing oxygen. So addition of hydrogen and or removal of oxygen is also called as reduction. So this is regarding reduction of nitro compound, and it is said that the reduction of nitro compound can also be brought out with the help of tin in HCl combination or iron in HCl combination. The best suitable catalyst here, or the reagent is iron in HCl. Why? Because we have to use them in a very lower quantity. I can use iron scrap with a HCl combination to bring about the reduction of nitro compound into a aniline. With a NH2 with a benzene is called as aniline. So this is regarding reduction of nitro compound. So the next is the very well known one of the name reaction called as Gabriel thalamide synthesis. Okay, so here you can see that it is thalamide, okay, not thalamide. A is not there, I is there, thalamide. Okay, so here let me tell you the difference between thalamide and thalamide. Okay, so here I hope you know that in polymers chapter you have studied regarding phthalic acid. What do you mean by phthalic acid is it is a dicarboxylic acid in a ortho position, 1,2 position. So for this, if I add a ammonia, okay, so I'll end up with a thalamide. Okay, so thalamide is nothing but CONH2, CONH2. Okay, so this is thalamide, PHTHALAMIDE, thalamide. Okay, so if I remove one ammonia molecule from the thalamide, we will end up with an thalamide. Okay, so thalamide is nothing but CONH, again CONH. So this is nothing but thalamide. Okay, so here IMIDE. Okay, so this is the substrate for Gabriel thalamide synthesis. Okay, so we have to use this thalamide as a substrate and we have to bring about the reaction. Okay, fine. So it is a very simple reaction, but you should know how to write the structure for thalamide. Okay, so write down the thalamide structure. So here NH, again CO with NH. The first step reaction is I have to make it to react with a potassium hydroxide or with a sodium hydroxide. You can take NaOH or you can take KOH. Why is that? Is because here potassium will replace this hydrogen, so that OH and hydrogen will combine and you will have elimination of water. So what will be the product here? So write down. So it will be NK, again CO with the NK. So like this, here this potassium salt of thalamide will further undergo reaction with the alkyl halide. Okay, fine. So alkyl halide, this reaction is called as nucleophilic substitution reaction. This point is important. Why? I'll tell you later. So what will happen here is usually alkali metals will have a very greater affinity towards the halogen. So potassium will combine with a halogen. So what will happen? R will replace the K. So therefore the next step product will be like this. N bonded to a R, then this potassium will combine with a halogen and it will come out. So it is a nucleophilic substitution reaction, we tell. The next step, what will happen here is, so you have to add a NaOH, or we have to do a aqueous NaOH. When we treat with the excess of aqueous NaOH, so I will end up with an primary amine. Okay, so we will end up with what here? Primary amine. How did I get this? So look over here. If I take two molecules of NaOH, there are two hydrogen atoms. The two hydrogen atom will add to nitrogen and it will become RNH2. So what is left out now? So you have NaO. So therefore NaO will combine with the CO group to form COONA and again COONA, which is nothing but sodium salt of thalamide. Got my point? Sodium salt of thalamide. So here we are ending up with a product which is very, very important, that is called as primary amine. So Gabriel thalamide synthesis is the best method to prepare only primary amine. I cannot do a aromatic primary amine preparation here. So why I cannot prepare an aromatic primary amine is because you know that benzene will never undergo nucleophilic substitution reaction. Got my point? It will never undergo nucleophilic substitution reaction. So therefore you cannot prepare aromatic primary amines also. We can prepare only primary amine but not even secondary amine and tertiary amine. Okay, so then last but one method of preparation is Hofmann bromide degradation. So here Hofmann, it is the name of the scientist. Bromide, that means I have to take one of the substrate as amide and another one is bromine. In presence of bromine, amide as one of the substrate. Degradation, why it is called as a degradation is because I'll end up with a product which has one carbon lesser than the substrate molecule. So here you can see that RC, whereas the product I'm getting is primary amine which has RNH2, the carbon is removed. So one carbon is lesser than the parent substrate. So in presence of NaOH. So here what is the reaction happening? Very simple. I have already RNH2 here. I have to remove this devil, that is carbonyl group. The carbonyl group which is coming out will combine with NaO to form Na2CO3, and followed by that you have an elimination of water molecule and sodium bromide as a byproduct. So we are ending up with a primary amine. Okay, fine. So here the important point is bromine has to be used only in one unit. So the number of moles of NaOH can be varied, but not the bromine. It has to be in 1 unit only. So this is important point. So degradation refer 1 carbon lesser than the substrate molecule, and why we are here, the concentration of the bromine should be 1 unit and the concentration of the NaOH can be varied accordingly. Okay, fine. So the last preparation is Curtius method. Actually, it is one of the rearrangement reactions. You are not aware of rearrangement reactions. So here, Curtius rearrangement. So Curtius rearrangement is brought out by using a substrate called as acyl azide. Okay, so what do you mean by acyl group? RCO group is called as acyl group. So for this acyl group, if I have a 3 nitrogen atom, so 3 nitrogen atom together, it is called as azide. RCO is acyl, whereas 3 nitrogen is acyl. So therefore, it is called as acyl azide. If I heat this acyl azide, there will be a rearrangement, and as a result of rearrangement, I will end up with an isocyanate. So here nitrogen double bond, C double bond O. So this is called as isocyanate. So if I do a hydrolysis for this, how do I do a hydrolysis? I'll be adding 2 hydrogen for nitrogen and 1 oxygen atom for the carbon, so that we'll end up with a primary amine with a liberation of carbon dioxide gas. So this is all about preparation of your amines, where we have 7 methods. Ammonolysis, reduction 3 methods are there. You can reduce a nitrile, you can reduce the nitro compound, you can also reduce the amide functional group. Then we have 3 name reactions are there: Gabriel phthalimide synthesis, Hoffman bromamide synthesis, and then Curtius reaction. So these are the various methods for the preparation of amines. Okay, so now we'll study about physical properties of amines. Under physical properties, to begin with, we should know regarding the state, phase, color, and followed by solubility. Under phase, I can tell that the first 3 carbon containing amines, they are existing in a gaseous state, and above 3 they are existing in a liquid state till carbon 7, and whereas from 8th carbon onwards they are existing in a solid state. So the lower form, they are said to be having a fishy smell. Okay, fine. So then followed by color. So they are all colorless in nature, but do remember, when these amines are exposed to the atmospheric air, they form a color. Then followed by that, solubility. So in case of solubility, all lower forms are highly soluble in water, whereas the higher forms are insoluble in water. Why is this? Because the lower form will have a lesser number of carbon atom with the amine as a functional group, which has a nitrogen with a high electronegativity. So therefore it has a tendency of forming hydrogen bond in water. So therefore they are soluble in water. But as the alkyl group or the R group chain keeps on increasing, the number of carbon atom increases, so the tendency of forming hydrogen bond will also reduce. So therefore they are insoluble in water. So the next is, we should begin with chemical properties. So in case of chemical properties, we should know regarding the reactivity of amines. So it is said that the reactivity of amines is mainly because of the acidic hydrogen and as well as the presence of lone pair in them. So here you can see that in case of primary amine, I have 2 hydrogen atom, 2 acidic hydrogen and 1 lone pair. Lone pair is common in everyone, but the number of acidic hydrogen keeps on reducing. So in case of primary amine, I have 2 acidic hydrogen, secondary amine 1 acidic hydrogen, tertiary amine, they do not have a acidic hydrogen at all. I repeat, so the reactivity of amines is due to the presence of acidic hydrogen and as well as lone pair. Lone pair is common in all 3 amines, but they differ with the acidic hydrogen. So the next is, so here, due to the presence of lone pair, we can tell that amines can behave both as a base and as well as a nucleophile. Okay, so this is regarding the reactivity of amines. So the next is we should know regarding the boiling point of various amines. So we know that primary amines, secondary amine, tertiary amine. So who are having a higher boiling point is primary amine. Why is it so? Because we have said you even in case of first year also. So here, as in case of tertiary amine, so you have a spear-like structure formation. Due to spear-like structure formation, the interactions will be very, very lesser. Lesser the interaction, lower the boiling point. Whereas in case of secondary amine, bit lesser. Whereas in primary amine, I have a straight chain structure. So therefore, they can have a very larger interaction. Larger the interaction, larger will be the boiling point. So in case of the alcohols, amines, if I compare, alcohols are having a higher boiling point compared to amines. Why is it so? Because we know that compared to nitrogen, oxygen is highly electronegative. Due to electronegative character, alcohols are having higher boiling point compared to amines. In case of amines, further primary amine, then secondary amine, least in case of the tertiary amine. So now let us start with a very, very important topic under amines, that is the basic nature of amines. So here the basic nature of amines is mainly due to the presence of lone pair of electron. So due to the presence of lone pair of electron, it behaves as a Lewis base. What is a Lewis base? Which donates a pair of electron. So you know that whenever we have a basic compound, it will react with the acid to form a salt. So now let us look on, if I take a amine, primary amine, which is behaving as a Lewis base, if I make it to react with a mineral acid such as hydrochloric acid, hydrobromic acid, hydroiodic acid, and so on. So what will happen here? So you will end up with a salt formation. So here, how do you get a salt formation? Hydrogen will be added here because of the lone pair of electron, and X halogen will be leaving as a halide ion, that is X minus. So here you can see that aliphatic amine and as well as aromatic amine, both of them on reacting with a mineral acid, they are forming a salt. So which proves that the amines behave as a base. So now let us measure it experimentally. So how to measure experimentally? So you know that, so when a base reacts with a water, why we have taken water is because water is an amphoteric substance which can behave both as an acid and as well as a base. Since amines are behaving as a base, here water will behave as an acid. So you know that here we are writing Lowry-Bronsted theory. So what is Lowry-Bronsted theory? Bronsted acid is something which will donate a proton. Base will accept a proton. So therefore here, if I remove one proton, you will end up with OH minus. And if I add one proton, it will become RNH3 plus. Okay. So let me tell you that since we are getting a OH minus ion, I can tell that my substrate is behaving as a base. If it is an acid, I should end up with a H plus ion. Since here it is behaving as a base, it is releasing OH minus ion. Since we have a reversible sign here, I can apply a equilibrium constant, Kb expression can be written. So I hope you know that Kb values will be with respect to 10 to the power of minus, 10 to the power of plus. That is a higher value or to a lower value. To get a reasonable and a precise value, we calculate pKb, where pKb is nothing but negative log to the base 10 of Kb. If I know the pKb value and Kb value, I can find out the strength of a base. How? With a simple relationship. What is that? Higher the hydroxyl ion, higher the basic character. So therefore base character strength will be more. So Kb value, higher value, base will also increase. And how is Kb and pKb related to each other? They are inversely proportional. So therefore, higher the Kb value, lower should be the pKb value. Only then we can assign what will be the basic strength of a amine. So this is all about the experimental concept. So we are performing the experiment, we are measuring the Kb value, we are calculating the pKb value. And it is said that the pKb value of ammonia is higher when compared to that of the primary amine. What did I tell? pKb and base character, how are they related? They are inversely proportional. So therefore, if ammonia pKb value is higher, that means it is lesser basic in nature when compared to that of the alkyl amine. So this is through experimental way. Now we have to understand theoretically why alkyl amines are highly basic when compared to that of the ammonia. So I hope you know that in case of alkyl amine, so I have one R group bonded to a nitrogen with a 2 hydrogen. Whereas in case of ammonia, we have nitrogen with a 3 hydrogen. So in case of Lewis base, what do you mean by Lewis base? It will donate a pair of electron. Anything which loses a pair of electron will gain a positive charge. So therefore here, after losing a pair of electron, it has a positive charge. So this positive charge has to be stabilized. So which is happening only in case of alkyl amine, but not in case of ammonia. Why? Because in alkyl amine I have one R group which is showing a positive inductive effect. So the stabilization of the cation which is formed is happening due to the positive inductive effect, due to the presence of one R group, which is not possible in case of the ammonia. I don't have a R group to stabilize this positive charge. So therefore, alkyl amines are highly basic when compared to that of the ammonia. Okay. So this is regarding the basic strength nature or deciding between ammonia and alkyl amine, where we said that alkyl amines are highly basic when compared to that of the ammonia. Why is that? Because the cation so formed after losing a pair of electron will be stabilized due to the positive inductive effect. Now let us move on for the basic nature in case of primary, secondary, tertiary amine in both gaseous phase and as well as in an aqueous phase. So there are three theories to support, to understand the basic nature in case of primary, secondary and tertiary amines. So let us understand one by one. So the first theory is positive inductive effect. Okay. So I hope you know that higher the stabilization, higher will be the basic character. More the positive inductive effect, more will be the basic character. So now let us take primary amine. What is primary amine? I have only one R group. What is secondary amine? I have 2 R group. What is tertiary amine? I have 3 R group. So I hope you know that 1 R group, 1 inductive effect. If I have 2 R group, 2 inductive effect. 3 R group, 3 inductive effect. So which is having more inductive effect? Tertiary amine, followed by secondary amine, least in case of primary amine. So therefore here the order of basic nature will be tertiary, followed by secondary, followed by primary. So this is regarding the inductive effect concept to explain the basic character, which can be applied for gaseous phase. In case of gaseous state, so we can directly tell that tertiary amines are highly basic because of the positive inductive effect, followed by secondary, followed by primary. So next one is the solvation. Okay. So in case of solvation, first you should know what you mean by solvation. For example, if I take a salt, NaCl, if I dissolve this in a water, then solvation will happen. What do you mean by solvation? So the sodium chloride will split into Na plus and Cl minus. So this Na plus ion will be surrounded by the negative ion. Okay, so the negatively charged ion of a water molecule. So I hope you know that in case of water, oxygen is electronegative. So therefore here the cation is surrounded by the anion. And similarly, the anion will be surrounded by the cationic part of a water molecule. So this is called as solvation. How nicely the water will surround the substrate molecule in a water. That is called as solvation. So therefore, if I take a primary amine, I hope you know that primary amine has 2 hydrogen. So therefore 2 hydrogen means I can expect 2 hydrogen bond with a water molecule H2O. So it can form 2 hydrogen bond. So this is in case of primary amine. Whereas in secondary amine, so you know in case of secondary amine I have only 1 hydrogen. So 1 hydrogen can form only 1 hydrogen bond with a water molecule. So similarly tertiary amine which do not have a hydrogen itself. So therefore I cannot expect a formation of a hydrogen bond in the water molecule, or solvation effect is least in case of the tertiary amine. So therefore as a result of solvation effect, which is highly solvated, primary amine, followed by secondary amine, then comes tertiary amine. So therefore the order happens to be primary, secondary and followed by tertiary. So this is regarding solvation effect, which is used to explain the basic strength in aqueous phase, because water is essential here. Okay, solvation itself is what? How neatly, how nicely the water will surround that substrate molecule. That is solvation. So therefore aqueous phase, solvation effect. And the last one is steric hindrance. Okay, so what do you mean by steric hindrances? So for example, if I have a ball exactly at the center and the coat is completely free, and if I ask you to get a ball, easily you will approach there and you will bring the ball. Why? Because no one are there, no hindrance is created in the court, so easily you will get the ball. On the other hand, if I have a ball exactly at the middle of the court and surrounded by large number of human beings, then if I ask you to get a ball, you have to take many shortcut pathways, you have to pull them, you have to go in between them and you have to get a ball. So what is happening here? So you have a steric hindrance. In a same way, in case of amines also, so the basic nature is mainly because of the lone pair. So to get this lone pair in a amine, I should not have a steric hindrance. So you know that in case of primary amine, I have only one R group. So this R group is a steric hindrance. So I have one R group here. Whereas in secondary amine, I have two bulky group here. Whereas in tertiary amine, I have 3 R group here. So steric hindrance is more in case of tertiary amine. So what will happen? Higher the steric hindrance, the basic character will reduce. Not easily the lone pair can be given out. So due to which we can tell that the order of the basic character will be primary, followed by secondary and followed by tertiary. So this is regarding the 3 theories to explain the basic strength in case of amines. So the next is, one trick is here. What is the trick is, if I have R as a ethyl group for all the 3, primary, secondary and tertiary, all are as a ethyl group, then the order of basic strength will be secondary, tertiary followed by primary. If R is a CH3 group, then secondary followed by primary and tertiary. Why in both secondary is common is because in case of inductive effect, it was tertiary, secondary, primary. Solvation, primary, secondary, tertiary. Steric hindrance, primary, secondary, tertiary. In all the 3 effects, secondary is in the middle, so it will dominate. On the other hand, if you have a higher alkyl group, then take tertiary as a second position. This is a trick to remember. And if you have a lower alkyl group, then take primary as a second position. So this is a trick to remember the order. Got my point? So finally we should know the basic nature, character among aniline and ammonia. Who is more basic among them? So here ammonia is highly basic when compared to that of the aniline. Why is it so? Because in case of aniline, I hope you know that aniline is nothing but C6H5NH2. So this lone pair of electron is involved in positive resonance effect or positive mesomeric effect. Due to the positive resonance effect, the lone pair of electron is not freely available to show the basic character. So as a result of which, the basic character of aniline is lesser when compared to that of the ammonia, because in ammonia the lone pair is freely available, so it can donate and it can show its basic character. So like this, so we have understood the basic character among alkyl amine, ammonia, then the three amines, primary, secondary, tertiary amines, basic character, and finally aryl amine versus ammonia. So finally we can conclude that alkyl amines are highly basic when compared to ammonia. If I compare ammonia with the aryl amine, ammonia is highly basic when compared to that of the aryl amine. So this is regarding the basic character, which is one of the chemical property under amines. So then next we have to move on to a various chemical properties, that is various chemical reactions. We'll do that one by one.